Hello and welcome to Premier League Predictions. It's the time of the week where I predict the upcoming weekend of Premier League football and inevitably get it completely wrong. I'll be doing this every single week throughout the season and keeping track of all of my predictions with a little point system that goes a little something like this. So if I predict a result and get it exactly right, I get 5 points. If I predict the correct team to win but don't quite get the score perfect, I get 2 points. And if I predict the score completely wrong, I get 0 points. So yes, essentially it is Sky's Super 6, but instead of doing 6 results, we're doing the whole weekend. Come on! Feel free to play along at home if you fancy it, and with that all being said, let's get into it. Up first is Nottingham Forest against Sheffield United. I've got to say, I was half impressed with Nottingham Forest outing against Arsenal. It's a shame that Brennan Johnson couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat, but the show goes on. I'll be honest, I didn't see the Sheffield United Palace game, but at the end of the day, it's Sheffield United we're talking about, and they've sold all of their good players. I think Morgan Gibbs-White and Brennan Johnson, if he can hit something on target this time, will probably do him a little bit of damage. So I'm going to go for 2-0 Nottingham Forest. Fulham Brentford next, and this is a difficult one as well, actually. Brentford, I thought, played really well against Tottenham, which, if you didn't know, is my team. They did do well. They're very good in a low block. Thomas Frank gets them playing very, very good football. Even without Ivan Toney, I think they're very, very good with Wissa and Mbeumo up top. At the point of recording, Mitrovic is still a Fulham player. Will Mitro feature? I don't think he will, but if he does, I still don't really back Fulham for this one. I'm going for 2-1 Brentford. Liverpool Bournemouth next, which is the one that everyone with an FPL team is banking on this week, because on paper this should be a bit of a landslide. Don't know though. I don't know. Bournemouth seem to be swinging cock in this transfer window. I did see a stat to say they've spent something like 90 million net spend this window, which they're Bournemouth. What are they doing? Stay in your lane. I think Liverpool will win, but I think there's a very, very strong chance that Bournemouth actually get a result here. If it was at Bournemouth, then I'd probably say there's more chance of them getting a result. However, as it's at Anfield, 3-0 Liverpool, Salah 1, Darwin 2. Tottenham against Manchester United, arguably one of the two biggest fixtures this weekend. Now maybe I'm being biased, but just hear me out, right? The football that we have been playing under Ange is fucking nuts, to be quite honest. Just the chance creation alone with Maddison, Bissouma that looks reborn. It's nuts. And on the flip side, I thought United were fucking pony against Wolves. There is one deciding factor for this game. If Mason Mount plays, guaranteed 3 points for Tottenham. If they bench Mason Mount and put in someone like McTominay to rough up the midfield, then it's a different story. I do see both teams scoring, so with that said, I'm backing the boys. 2-1 Spurs. Maybe that's a silly move, but I'm going with it. 2-1 Spurs. Manchester City against Newcastle. Probably the biggest fixture this weekend. Newcastle, in game week 1, absolutely ripped Unai Emery's arsehole open. It's a toughie. It's a real toughie. Newcastle look like probably the team with the highest morale in the league right now, but it is the hardest fixture of the season for them, is away to City, and City just steamroll teams now, don't they? I think City are going to cause a real upset for them. I don't think they're going to allow Newcastle to score, so with that being said, I'm going for 2-0 City. Villa against Everton is next. I mean, they've got to come back from that 5-1 loss against Eddie Howe's Geordies. I actually think Villa are going to cook this season after a very rocky start against Newcastle. I think as soon as Diaby gets a few more games under his belt, he looked very promising in the Newcastle game, even though they did lose quite significantly. And I think he could even bag maybe a brace, I don't know, against Everton. 3-1 to Aston Villa. West Ham Chelsea. London. West Ham, who scores their goals? Skamaka's gone. Mikel Antonio is shite. Danny Ings has had a hair transplant, so he can't head a ball. Who scores for them? What was their last week result? They drew to Bournemouth. Christ. So against Chelsea's new super team, where every position is at least 40 million quid, I back Chelsea for this one. Why wouldn't you? I think Jackson looked really, really good. Sterling is Sterling. But Mudryk, I think he could come into his own this season. I thought last week against Liverpool, I think Chelsea looked more dangerous on the attack. So yeah, I think I'm going to go for 3-0 Chelsea. And finally, we have Crystal Palace against Arsenal. Elise, he turned around and he signed a new 4-year deal with Palace and he's going to stay, which is normal. Do I think Palace will do a job against Arsenal? I don't know. Obviously no Zaha this year, but they do have Eze, who looks like he's going to be the one pulling the strings, contributing to goals, assists, and Elise's now committed his future. So there's that point. I wasn't convinced by Arsenal in week 1 against Nottingham Forest. Am I thinking with my Spurs brain, or am I thinking, I think as a football fan, Arsenal are a good team now, and we have to accept that. So I'm going to say it's an Arsenal win. I think Palace score though, so I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal. 2-1 Arsenal. So that is my Premier League predictions for game week 2. If you play along at home, let me know how you get on in the comments of the next video. And also let me know your thoughts for this week. Let me know if I'm being deluded or if you agree with everything I've said. I've been Manners, you've been amazing. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.